too starstruck from people, and that was like a moment that I was like I knew I was going to meet him when I was coming to the game, and that's like one of my idols. Like, LeBron is the GOAT to me, so I don't know, it was just like a crazy moment where
history was rewritten the moment LeBron James achieved something the NBA had never witnessed before. Even though the Lakers suffered a rough loss that night, the final score suddenly felt meaningless because what unfolded before the buzzer completely overshadowed the game itself and captured everyone's attention worldwide. When Caitlin Clark, already the most talked about figure in women's basketball, watched the moment happen, she reacted with just a single word. And somehow that one reaction managed to express everything fans were feeling in that instant. Now the real debate begins. After this incredible milestone, does LeBron James officially deserve to be called the greatest basketball player of all time? Or does Michael Jordan still hold that legendary crown no matter what the numbers say? Share your honest opinion in the comments right now and join the conversation. Truly process the magnitude of what just unfolded, because in sports we hear big numbers constantly and most of them fade away after a few headlines and passing debates. But this achievement carries a completely different weight and deserves real appreciation instead of a quick reaction. 43,000 career NBA points is not just another statistic. It is a milestone no player in professional basketball history has ever reached, surpassing legends once believed impossible to catch, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, whose 38,387-point record stood untouched for decades and felt permanently out of reach, along with icons like Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, and every superstar who has ever stepped onto an NBA court. LeBron James already shocked the sports world when he broke Kareem's record in 2023, a moment many considered the peak of historical greatness. Yet instead of slowing down or celebrating the achievement as a final chapter, he continued pushing forward, extending the standard of longevity and excellence far beyond anything basketball had ever seen before. There was no slowing down, no quiet decline that made this long journey feel like a gradual fade into the background, because LeBron James refused to coast and instead kept scoring, kept impacting the game, and kept expanding a record that already stood alone with no real comparison in basketball history. Just 2 years after breaking the all-time scoring record, he pushed the milestone even further by crossing 43,000 career points at the age of 41 during his 23rd NBA season, while still averaging an impressive 21.7 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game. Numbers that look nothing like a farewell tour, and instead resemble the production of a player still competing at a high level and forcing even prime athletes to keep up. That same night, the Lakers suffered a heavy 111-89 loss to the Boston Celtics, a game where Boston's defense dominated and Los Angeles struggled to find any offensive rhythm, recording their lowest scoring performance of the season, which under normal circumstances would have controlled every headline and post-game discussion. But this was not a normal night, because no regular season defeat was powerful enough to overshadow a historic achievement that instantly captured the entire basketball world's attention, as players, coaches, analysts, and fans reacted in real time to acknowledge the significance of the moment. Among all those reactions, the one that cut through the noise and echoed across headlines came from Caitlin Clark, who plays in a completely different league yet understood the magnitude instantly, leaving just one word under LeBron's Instagram post, "King." A single, simple response without a long tribute, statistical breakdown, or carefully crafted statement, yet somehow powerful enough to say everything that needed to be said. Just the word "king," yet in its simplicity it managed to communicate more meaning than an entire speech ever could, because Caitlin Clark is not someone who throws words around lightly or performs for attention on social media. When she speaks, her message carries intention and genuine respect. By choosing that specific title to describe what LeBron James had just accomplished, she delivered a powerful acknowledgement from one generational athlete to another, and the reaction feels even more significant when you understand who Clark is and the impact she has been building across basketball. She became the driving force behind the WNBA's most commercially successful season in 2024, transforming arenas that once struggled with attendance into sold-out venues weeks in advance while completely reshaping sponsorship conversations and bringing a new mainstream audience to a league that had fought for visibility for decades. Her dominance began long before the professional stage, rewriting college basketball history as the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history across both men's and women's competition, and when she entered the professional game, the entire landscape shifted almost instantly around her presence and influence. Clark understands firsthand what it means to carry the expectations of a sport, to perform under constant national attention, and to feel the pressure of history watching every performance, which is why her one-word response to LeBron reaching 43,000 points was never a casual fan moment but rather one historic athlete recognizing the weight of greatness achieved by another. Moments like this mutual respect shared between generational stars across different leagues are incredibly rare and earned through years of excellence, dedication, and resilience on both sides. Clark herself has expressed that she avoids comparing careers, acknowledging how difficult it is to measure greatness, yet she openly admires LeBron's journey from entering the NBA straight out of high school under unimaginable expectations to not only living up to the hype but continuing to perform among the world's best players even as he approaches 40, praising not just his achievements but also the way he has carried himself while shaping the modern game and inspiring fans and athletes alike throughout his legendary career. Let's slow down and truly understand what this number represents, because 43,000 points is far more than just a large statistic. It is the result of sustained excellence that almost defies logic in modern professional sports. Over more than 1,600 regular season NBA games, LeBron James has maintained a level of production that refuses to follow the normal aging curve that eventually catches nearly every great player. As most stars begin to decline in their mid-30s when injuries increase, athleticism fades, efficiency drops, and playing time gradually decreases along with scoring output. LeBron shattered that expected trajectory, not simply avoiding decline but extending his prime to a point where even sports scientists and veteran coaches struggle to explain how his performance remains so consistent deep into his 23rd season, still making impact plays that players with far fewer years rarely sustain. What makes the scoring achievement even more remarkable is the way he accumulated those points, not through reckless volume shooting but through complete offensive mastery, operating as a point forward who can control an entire system, pushing the pace in transition, finishing through contact at the rim, pulling up from distance when defenses overcommit, and reading plays faster than opponents can react, constantly staying 2 steps ahead in a league where being 1 step ahead already defines elite status. This rare combination of basketball intelligence, physical durability, and disciplined skill development over 2 decades at the highest competitive level produced 43,000 points not because of a shortcut or statistical anomaly, but because LeBron refined his craft longer and more effectively than anyone the game has ever seen. Ironically, the milestone arrived on the same night he was asked about Jaylen Brown in the MVP race, and during that post-game press conference LeBron made headlines again by openly questioning how the MVP is evaluated today, calling it at times a popularity contest and admitting he stopped worrying about the award years ago due to his own frustrations with how the honor is decided. Incredibly, he casually advocated for Jaylen Brown as a legitimate MVP candidate while also referencing the Bronny James Summer League discussion, doing all of it with calm composure after a tough 22-point loss on the very night he crossed the historic 43,000 career point mark, a situation that would overwhelm most athletes but somehow looked effortless for him. The emotional balance required to handle multiple narratives in a single press conference without letting it spiral into chaos was remarkable in its own way. Yet his comments about the MVP award deserve deeper attention, because they reveal something meaningful about how LeBron James views individual recognition compared to long-term legacy achievements. Throughout his career, he has maintained a complicated relationship with the MVP trophy, shaped by seasons where his statistical dominance seemed undeniable, yet the voting results went elsewhere for reasons many analysts and fans struggled to justify purely through basketball performance, frustrations he has openly acknowledged at different points over the years. Still, at 41 years old, he continues producing near triple-double level performances night after night, not because he is chasing personal awards anymore but because something larger is fueling his motivation, the pursuit of an undeniable legacy built through longevity, consistency, and record so overwhelming that when the final chapter of his career is written, the historical numbers themselves will stand too far ahead for anyone to seriously debate or diminish. Reaching 43,000 career points is not something that happens by chance or through longevity alone, because a milestone of this magnitude demands relentless consistency. Scoring night after night, season after season, through championship runs and difficult rebuilding years, alongside both elite supporting casts and rosters stretched thin, all while enduring the physical and mental demands of more than 1,600 professional games, at the highest level of basketball on the planet. The timing of this achievement also adds another fascinating layer, as the Lakers recently added Luka Doncic, creating an offensively intriguing trio alongside LeBron and Austin Reeves, raising real questions about chemistry, rhythm, and how dangerous this group could become as the postseason approaches, where seeding and matchups will ultimately define success. Despite the historic personal milestone, LeBron's mindset clearly remains centered on team success, rather than treating the season like a farewell celebration, and that competitive focus is exactly why Caitlin Clark's reaction resonates so strongly. Clark herself understands the balance between individual greatness and collective ambition, having shattered the all-time college scoring record while simultaneously chasing a national championship, fully aware that personal milestones and team goals are not opposing forces but achievements that can exist together, pushing an athlete to pursue history while still fighting for the ultimate prize. Caitlin Clark never had to choose between celebrating her individual accomplishments and fully committing to winning, and LeBron operates with that same mindset, because while the 43,000-point milestone is monumental and deserves recognition, just 5 minutes later he was in a press conference breaking down what the team needed to do against Orlando, and whether the offensive combinations were clicking before the playoffs, proving that for him the team's success always comes first. That is what Clark sees when she writes King. Not just the number itself, but the remarkable consistency, the unparalleled longevity, and the ability to keep performing at the absolute highest level when everyone else, including human biology, would have made that impossible years ago. The truly ironic part is that when LeBron broke Kareem's record in 2023, much of the sports world immediately questioned its legitimacy, debating the expanded schedule, the era, and the level of competition, all the familiar arguments that appear whenever a permanent record is threatened. LeBron's response was not to argue, defend, or justify himself. He simply scored 5,000 more points, continuing to play and dominate in silence, allowing the number itself to grow so overwhelmingly large that questions about era, schedule, or competition fade in comparison to the sheer magnitude of what he has achieved. 43,000 points. A milestone that no other player in NBA history has ever reached. Not one, not even close. It's a number that instantly separates LeBron James from every other athlete who has ever laced up shoes in the league, a testament to decades of sustained excellence, relentless work ethic, and unmatched consistency. And then there's Caitlin Clark, the extraordinary player who single-handedly transformed the commercial trajectory of women's basketball in America, turning half-empty arenas into sold-out venues, reshaping sponsorship conversations, and showing the world what it truly means to carry a sport on your shoulders while breaking records people swore could never be broken. When she saw 43,000 points, she didn't overthink it. She didn't write a long post or analyze statistics. She left one simple word: King. That one word carries everything: respect, acknowledgement, and understanding of what it takes to achieve a feat so historic that it defies context. It's hard, if not impossible, to argue with that assessment, because even those who might attempt to downplay the achievement have to face the undeniable truth. LeBron James has produced a number that no one else has ever touched, a milestone that cements his legacy as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, to ever play the game. And Caitlin Clark, someone who knows intimately the pressure, scrutiny, and history-making weight of shattering records, gave it the only reaction it truly deserved. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe, because we don't just cover scores or highlights, we break down the moments that define an era, the moments that actually matter, and there are plenty more of those historic moments still to come.